Clara was a young woman who lived in the house, and this story happened on Christmas Eve when she was poster up the decorations. She was enthusiastic with the Christmas celebration. Her house was complimented with lights, garland, and ornaments. One of the ornaments was an awkward Santa that she had bought yesterday at a thrift store. He promptly described it. It was old, porcelain-made, wore a crooked smile on its face, and had eyes that looked so real. If you remember, the store owner told her that this Santa has a history. Some specimens can be opened to the public. People state that it is bringing misfortune. This Clara dismissed as the usual marketing strategy by the sellers. Taking the light and having dressed for bed, Clara went to bed, leaving the Santa figurine on the mantel. But when the clock looked the midnight, she was awakened by a faint sound that was similar to that of sleigh bells. Yawning, she entered the living room and stopped dead in her tracks. There was no glittery Santa figurine on the mantel as it used to be for the past few weeks. It was on the coffee table, and with the pretentious crocodile grin that looked like it could extend to become wider. Clara shrugged it off as one of those blank moments when she seems to forget where she had placed it before putting it back on the mantel. But as she turned to leave, she heard a faint whisper as part of the Christmas tradition. People are asked, "Have you been bad or good?" She tore her eyes away and her heart began to race, but there was no one else in the room. The voices became louder at night, together with pounding noises and sounds that resembled footsteps. Clara locked herself in her bedroom, holding her phone, and when she wanted to call for help, there was no connection. At that very split moment of distraction, the door to the office slowly swung wide open. In front of them, Santa figure loomed up to the size of a small child, its porcelain head grotesque with a smile painted on it and eyes scarlet. It carried a sack that wriggled as if the person who was kidnapped was in that sack. "Run, you brat, run, Clara," it said, and its voice was as cold as the wind howling in the snow-covered trees. Clara screamed and picked a lamp to throw it at the figurine, severing the head completely. But from the bits and pieces came a black, ethereal outline, a spirit tied to the totem. That was when the ghost said it was a man's soul that had been cursed for greed for centuries. He was to spend Christmas watching and then terrorizing people who had the figurine due to their evil deeds. The poor girl pleaded for the man's mercy, saying that she did not steal anything. The spirit stopped to take her in to assess her. "You're not guilty, but you're not innocent either," it said. Often greed comes in various forms, and we don't always associate it with gold. Thus, at times it is in the desire for what is beyond the necessary. The spirit offered Clara a choice: break the figurine and set it free, but at a cost of something dear to her, or keep it and suffer endlessly. Clara did not do it, and finally she hit the small statue with a fireplace poker to pieces. But then the spirit gave a loud, piercing screech, and in the end dissolving into a fiery whirlwind. The next morning, Clara woke up early, and to her surprise, all seems very quiet around her house. The decorations faded away, her gifts disappeared, as did all her money. All that remained was a note: "This is your second chance in life. Use it wisely." Since then, Clara remained poor and never took more than she required from anyone in her life. However, whenever Christmas Eve was in the current year, she would hear the faint sound of sleigh bells, the reminder of the haunted Santa borne along by it.